was going on, I would put together a quick PowerPoint or something, and we would utilize that to present to Matt Dorian. And ultimately, if we're looking for a capital project, that was the path to take. Does everybody remember that or have any comments about that?
Yeah,
No,
right.
we
So
all took something
basically,
on.
we're talking about playgrounds more than the park itself, and it had to do with a capital improvement in the Eastchester projects. In
Mhm.
other words, I think they're in the process of trying to accumulate some money to redo that playground and basketball court. And
Mhm.
basically, what they wanted to know was what are their options and what they could put in there. And
Mhm.
that's why we were going to the different areas to see what type of apparatus was available to put in there and how many things you could put in there, and fit it comfortably with the basketball court, if I'm not mistaken.
You're so right, and that's what I was going to put in old business or new business, but this is what we wanted to do. But since this pandemic, they tell you to either stay indoors or whatever, and this is why I'm puzzled, but I do still go and help visit my other neighbors, that seniors that need help with different things. So that was taking me away from the Parks Department project. But in the same token, that's why I wanted to make sure that we get a meeting in so I can get the strategies from everybody, how we're going to move forward. And if we can, I can pick up someone in the car. I can get Edith. I can get whoever wants to ride with me. We can meet
I
at.
cannot go into a call. I appreciate your,
Oh,
your
okay.
offering. I
Okay.
can't do that. I'm too high of a risk.
Oh, yes, baby. Okay. Truly.
I think we might be better off. Iris also volunteered a van. Now, instead of one
Right, but
van,
she's not.
I understand that. Instead of one van, maybe we could get two that'll put us socially distant. And the best thing about it is that the van would actually be able to drive into the park
Right.
and directly into the playground. I mean, I have some personal issues too, where walking distances might create a problem for me.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
and the best thing is, I mean, if we can get a parks department vehicle, everybody's got an alert for something, thunderstorms.
Oh, yep. Curfew.
Where am I? Oh God.
Sorry about that.
Okay, we're back. Uh-oh. Are we?
Yeah,
So Don, that's a great point. So, perhaps the committee can decide when we'd like to do that. And not to put Edith on the spot, but I know she has a good working relationship with the Bronx Park Commissioner. Maybe at some point we could, lean on her to reach out and see if we can coordinate it when we feel the time is right.
she already
Let me tell
agreed
you
to
what.
it.
Let me tell you what the problem is with that. I mean, I would love to do that. I've been trying to get a hold of Iris on my own because we do have a relationship, and I can't get a hold of her. So I don't know. I know they're not working in the office.
Okay.
She was in the office. I met with her a week and a half ago.
Oh, okay, because I have been trying.
Well,
So, and I've gotten nowhere.
they're considered essential personnel, so they do have to go in at some point.
Okay.
I did.
All
She
right.
was telling me that her husband was yelling at her because she's one of the few people that's actually going into the office. Now, whether or not
Right.
she decided to work from home or not is another story. But she did volunteer at the last meeting to supply us with a van to take us around.
Yes, she did. Yes, she
If
did.
she agreed for one, I'm sure she's not going to have a problem with two. And you know what I'm saying? So we have, no, first of all, we never have a full 9 people at the meeting. So let's
It
say
depends
worst
on
comes
who.
to worst.
I'm sorry, but it depends on who wants to go anyway.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is if you have 8 people,
Hmm.
okay, those vans are big enough to put 4 people in each one of them, to have them socially distant from one another, because I think they're like 3 or 4 rows of seats, number one, outside of the driver's seat. So, I mean, you put 4 people in one, 4 people in the other. If only 4 people show up or 5 people show up, you could probably basically get them in if they put masks on and stuff like that. I mean,
So
it's
Don,
not going to be Yeah, Edith, and I understand your situation, and there's no way in HELL where
Mhm.
you should even consider leaving your house at this particular point in time.
No, I won't, because I've done it this
Yeah, but as a
far,
matter of fact,
certainly-
if you decided to do that, I'd probably go there the night before with like maybe 40 or 50 brick and, block the door.
Tie you up.
Let me tell you,
Dig
you
her
wouldn't
up.
have to do that. My children would do that very nicely for you.
Okay.
So Dom, so how about this then, Dom? I mean, since it seems like Edith hasn't been able to get a hold of Iris, do you want to try? Because this might not kick off for a couple of weeks anyway, by the time putting
I
everything
have no problem trying to call her and
Right.
get a commitment for her, and I'll see how
If
many
you
people
tell
the van
her-
holds.
Yeah, and you
If the
tell her,
van holds, yeah, if the van holds a dozen people,
Yep.
put 4 or 5 people in there, shouldn't be a big deal.
right, and we'd like to coordinate it, on a certain day and time, and then we're gonna go to, I guess, Eastchester Gardens is the name of the park, right, sister?
Yes.
So, and, we just get the ball rolling on that. Let's see, it may not come to fruition for a couple of weeks anyway, and things may be a little bit loose. We're supposed to open up New York City Phase 2, I think, on Monday, right? So things
No,
are,
phase one,
Phase
phase
one.
one.
oh, I'm sorry, Phase 1. Sorry
The
about that.
moron says you're not getting phase 2 until July.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Phase 2 is supposed to be on the 15th.
No, July.
It all
Talking-
depends.
I
Talking
heard
July.
It's
Okay,
minimum 14 days, and then it's evaluated based on what the numbers
Right.
are after those 14 days.
I
Okay.
saw him on TV this afternoon, and he says we're looking at the beginning of July. That was the mayor.
All right, so,
Okay.
Dom,
It's not up to the mayor, it's up to the governor.
Okay, good.
that's right.
so Dom, maybe if you could put it out there, that'd be great. See if you reach out to Iris, put it out there. As you get information, you can communicate to the committee, and we
Give
can
it to
take.
Jeremy, and Jeremy will forward it.
Perfect, perfect.
I do not have what you would call nimble fingers.
All right, so I think, sister, that was primarily what we're looking
I
to
will call
regroup
you,
about.
Tom, too. I will call you and check on you as well, because I really have to check on all of my committee. That's what I do. I don't try to, discriminate against anybody. I know Edith is my baby, but, we have, even Joe, I want to be able to communicate with everybody. So I'll be checking on you as well.
Good. Everybody's good. So I guess with that said, right, that's kind of where we left off, sister. So,
Yes.
I think that, we could see what kind of luck we get with Iris, see where she's at, see how receptive she is right now in response to the environment that we're in. And then we'll take it from there. We'll get that ball rolling.
Okay.
We all know, we do have some constraints, so, we want to try to put something out there so that, like I say, as things start to ease up, we can hit the ground somewhat running and do what we do.
Yes. Okay.
Let me interrupt for 1 second. When I am talking to her, I'm going to ask 2 or 3 days where we could have access to this. And am I asking for weekends only? Am I asking her for 7 o'clock at night? Am I asking her for, middle of the week? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm retired. I could go, any day, any time. But I mean, some people might have to go back to work and stuff like that. So
That's right.
give me a rough idea of, what I'm going to try and solicit from her.
yeah,
Yes.
Dom, I would say, if my comment would be just, obviously, we want to go during the light hours, right? And maybe
Sure.
when it's not too hot in the day, so maybe either a morning or, like a later afternoon, all depends. And then maybe on a Saturday, I think might be best. I know we can vote on it, absolutely. But I'm not opposed to during the week because I am working from home now currently. So that's just me. So I am open and flexible.
Pat, are you open during the week? And are you open during the week?
Working from
I'm
home.
fine anytime, weekends or week.
I'm
Lisa,
I'm working from home, but like I can't just up and leave. But
in other words, yeah,
but I
you
am
have to
free.
be at a certain place.
Yeah, I am free after 4 o'clock. So I could do any weekday after 4 o'clock, and then anytime on the weekends.
Okay, so basically the best thing would be a Saturday,
Saturday.
because I'm sure they're not
That's
going to
what
be
we
too
got
happy
to-
about doing a Sunday.
But that's what we discussed last time, would be on a Saturday, so
Yes.
everybody would be able to join.
Yes.
Remember
Yes.
that?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we got that out there, Dom. We'll put it out there. We'll ask about, a van or two for a Saturday, an undecided Saturday in the future.
Yes. Give
And
us a couple of dates, and then we
Yes.
can make a decision.
and Edith,
Yeah, we
Edith,
can
I
get
don't
back
know
to vote
if
on
you
whichever
have
date it's gonna be.
Edith, I don't know if you have an iPhone or an iPad, but we can
No,
always
I'm on my regular phone.
okay, because I was gonna say we could find a way, we could try to figure out a way to make you virtually there
FaceTime you
with us.
while we're there.
Yeah.
Edith, you guys have a computer?
Of course I have a computer.
All right, so you can forward it to her computer, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
We could figure something out.
yeah,
Okay.
you can forward
So
it
you
to
can
my
be right there
computer.
with
That's
us?
fine.
Lisa,
Yes.
we can't figure something out. You could figure something. Now,
These things.
I will figure something out so that Edith could be with us virtually.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so
Appreciate
much,
it.
Lisa.
You're welcome.
I
All right.
appreciate it.
Okay, so that takes care of old business because that's what I would have been discussing for the old business was the capital project and the reason for visiting the different parks to view conditions and also to review the equipment so that I can put something, I can make judgment for what I can put in Eastchester. So now since we're to new businesses, the new business will go back to Joe and the tree that we want to save because that's something that's very important as well. So
So Jeremy, if you could, can you pull up that picture again of the tree?
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody's looking at the chat. So there are two CB11 staff, just generalized it. There's a reason for doing that. So both Harriet and I have host rights and ability to control the meeting. This is a small meeting, but I wanted Harriet to join the meeting so we could test this out for upcoming meetings. So Harriet is currently the host one. I'm the other one.
Okay, so you are sharing your screen. Okay.
Yeah. This is the tree you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's the tree right there, all the way to the left. That is has been deemed. It was in question for a good year and a half, whether it was going to remain or not. It's a very old white swamp oak,
Just a minute.
and that tree you can see is a tree that's very welcomed in the warmer months for those sitting at the bus stop waiting for that Bronx 12 that shows up. It needs to come out because of a water main pipe that's underneath it. And again, just another blow. If you look just past the L, like where the bus would be going, like to the right, we lost some trees over there as well. I guess because that water main is right in that area. I know the parks has done a pretty good job with, trying to mitigate as many trees as possible. But on the technical working group monthly meetings that we have, it was brought up that this tree does in fact have to go. It really is irreplaceable. The comments, in the past were, if this was Central Park, it wouldn't happen. If this was the Metropolitan Museum of Art, it wouldn't happen. Because they've actually relocated trees like this, believe it or not. I know it's a tremendous endeavor. Not saying we'd want to spend $100,000 to try to save that tree. I don't think it's a good use of taxpayer money. But I just want everybody to realize that, again, it has to come down. And, that area, there's been a lot of work, right? That was phase one of some mall work that was done, and it's supposed to work its way further east. I just wanted to bring it to the committee's attention that this is happening. And Dom brought up a good point. Is it because it's not feasible at all to reroute, or just because this is the easiest path, or the path of least resistance? I was told that it's not really feasible. I'm sure there might be a little bit of both in there, Dom. But I just want the committees.
Joe, my question to you is there anybody that we know in this field that is not part of the project that could actually tell us the truth as to whether or not it's feasible or not.
Well, we'd have to have a civil engineer review the plans and then basically question the DDC.
And there's nobody that we know that would do this on the arm. In other words, as a volunteer or nobody in this line of work.
I do know a civil engineer. He actually has looked at some stuff during phase 1 of the reconstruction for us. I could reach out to him and see if he would be willing to look into it.
Jeremy, is there any money that we could use out of whatever budget there is in order maybe to pay something for this?
We gotta find somebody that does business with the city, somebody that has a vendor ID number, a valid one. So I don't know if you want to speak to this person, Joe, and find out if they do business with the city.
Okay.
Well, first find out if we have the money, if we can get a hold of the money to do this.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have money we can do something with, but that's not the issue. First, I would say first find out if this guy can do it on the arm. If he can't, find out if he does business with the city.
And even if he can do it on the arm, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what these people get, but I mean, if you got to throw him 500 or something like that,
Can't do it.
even if he says he's going to do it on the arm, just as a sign of good faith.
Yeah.
Because, you know, who knows if you're going to, you know, if the guy's honest with us and stuff like that, we can afford it, you know, we might need him later on sometime. And he says, hey, you know, these are honorable people, you know, let me do what I can for them.
Jeremy, do we have the actual engineered drawings for this area?
Not here. Not with me.
Do we know if we could get access to them or would we have to purchase a copy?
I could ask Joanna. I mean, they might be able to get to accommodate us somehow.
So could you shoot a short note maybe to her and just ask her if we could have access to the engineered drawing of that water main that is going to uproot that tree?
Yeah, okay.
Might be a
Yeah,
page or
so-
two.
This is Lisa. I also just want to say something. Like, can we, before we go through all this, can we see if they're even going to be willing to change it? Because if you remember, we had this whole conversation a few meetings ago surrounding Loretto Park and the way that the redesign of the park was, and how somebody on our committee, I forget who it was, pointed out that that when people are hitting the baseballs, they're going to go into oncoming traffic, and is there any way they could change that? And they were like, no, once you already have we already have contractors, you know, plans have already been drawn up. It doesn't matter what you say now. There's literally no way that they were going to change it at all. So I don't want us to go through all of this and find a way that they can reroute this water main, and for them to say, yeah, it doesn't matter. The ball's already been rolling. We can't stop it at this point.
Well, Lisa,
So-
that's a good point because, you know, again, the plans are where the plans are. They were making assessments and I think they were waiting up until the very end to actually see where things, you know, things on paper and things in the field can be very different. So I think they were waiting until they were getting close to
Okay.
see the trajectory of the pipe, of the water main that's going in. So you
Okay.
are right. You know, if it's there, and we would want to deviate a bit, like you know, Dom said, 5 yards one way or 5 feet another way. Could that happen? Perhaps would it be a change order to the contract? Would there be a cost to it? Those
Right.
are all question marks that would probably derail the whole thing.
Right. So I just want to say, like, I don't want us to spend money to have a civil engineer look at possibilities if the Parks Department is like, we can't, it doesn't matter what possibilities you find, the deal is done. We can't change it. So I would say we should find that out first.
And
before we
Jeremy
go do it.
could ask Joanna if the Parks Department, I'm sorry, the Parks Committee of CB11 wanted to hire a civil engineer to look at the routing of the existing water main. Would that be something that DDC would be open to if this person could deem another solution?
You know, honestly, if I can put my 2 cents in, I don't think they're going to be willing to do anything. Honestly, because of the experiences we've had before, that they will not, deviate from their plans. But I think you have a very good idea, Lisa, that before we go into any of this, we should really find out whether it's possible for them to do anything like that.
Right. Yeah, that might be just as simple as an email from Jeremy to Joanna to ask the question.
Well, I know,
There's a big difference between this and Loretto Park. Loretto
Mhm.
Park came before the Parks Committee,
Yes.
was voted on numerous times. It was brought to the full board. The full board voted on it and approved it. And I mean, it was all because they were worried about Senator Klein and him getting the Wangle wagon in there for the concerts, which eventually, after they, in the process of doing it, he didn't win the election, and
Right.
the concerts are down to 2. So, but that was brought to our attention. We were asked about it. We went over it. It was the Parks Commission, the Parks committee, and the community board that all suggested that. I mean, we had a lot of people there from the community who were all weighing in on this. It wasn't only the actual committee itself. And I mean, that's what the people wanted. And,
Yeah. But little did we know that we're going to waste all that space because Jeff didn't get into office.
I understand it,
We
but I
had
mean,
no
it
idea
wasn't
of knowing
something that everybody took it for granted. And the bottom line is,
Right.
it didn't happen.
Exactly. Right. But I think we should find out for sure before we jump into anything and
Yeah, of
make sure
course.
that it can
Yeah.
be done.
But if this guy's going to do it, you know what I'm saying? And $500 really isn't a lot of money when you come to talk about something like that.
Of course. Of course.
But
So,
Yeah.
so Jeremy, how would we handle? Would that be a request that would come from you or one of us? There,
I
Jeremy?
had-
Jeremy's still there?
yeah, I had to change rooms.
No problem.
Oh.
Yeah, how would that be handled, Jeremy? Would you send a quick email to them asking?
So you're talking about what their plans are, their intentions are, if they're going to take it down regardless?
Just if we could, the Parks Committee came up with an idea because of this tree. Everybody doesn't want it to come down. If they were to hire a civil engineer to review, and he saw a possibility, would DDC consider another opinion?
So I can ask. So let's back up though. I remember, so I know we did a site visit, you and me, Joe and George Zolch and other people. And my recollection of it was, so Parks said that basically they left it up to us if we wanted to save the tree or not.
Yes.
And of course, that was at the time, that was the decision. I can't remember, this is 2018. It might have been 2018. And so I think they also said that we could save the tree, but it'll probably die in 3 years anyway. And then they offered, do you remember what they offered in terms of, they said, well, if we take it down, we'll put $100,000 towards tree plantings or something. Do you remember they tried to make some type of offer like that? I don't remember what exactly.
Yeah, I don't offhand, but I do remember standing around the tree and they were like, listen, do you want us to try to save this one? We won't make the decision now. And I was like, yes, do everything you can to save that tree. I don't recall, what kind of restitution they were offering at all.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't say, I mean, they didn't think they could say that. They would have to do other things. All right,
So I think the simple question would be, Jeremy, is just, hey, listen, the Parks Committee is willing to hire a civil engineer to take a look at the plans. Is this something, if the civil engineer sees a different approach, is DDC willing to, compromise at this
Right.
point?
Yeah, because they may be trying to do this next week, right? Who knows when?
Yeah.
I mean, did Joanne call you or George Zolch about this?
The last time we spoke, and George and I have communicated, yes, about it. But Joanna hasn't spoken with me directly about it.
Okay. So I tried searching my email to see if there's some type of email about it. I don't see anything currently, but all right. So let me I'll follow up with her.
Okay, thank you. Good point, though, Lisa.
Hello?
Thank you. I just didn't want us to waste any time or money.
No, I agree.
You're right.
So
You're
Dom-
100%
Dom-
right.
Yep, I agree, Edith. So Dom's, I guess, gonna get the ball rolling on Iris. Jeremy will send an email out to Joanna and see if we even have a shot at this.
Yeah.
What else, sister?
Okay, beloved, now
Excuse
after
me 1 minute. Let me know whether you can get her or not.
Iris?
All right? Yeah, let
Well,
me know
Iris,
if you
Edith?
get Iris. Yeah.
I'll call you. I
All
muted
right,
myself.
because then
Okay.
I'll keep trying. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so now moving forward, this is still new business, and we have 10 minutes left, I guess, maybe 10 minutes.
Well, we have whatever left. We do also have a board member who's officially a member of the public tonight. So I don't know if you want to open up for public comment before we go into old business, new business, or you want to, it's up to you, Pat.
This was new business.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying you have a member of the public here too.
The public speak now. You can go ahead, please.
Hold on, let me unmute her. Can you unmute her since you have that host ability? Click on the attendees.
Okay,
And she's the caller that's muted. Natalie Medina.
um,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Debbie, we can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because I was hearing some of the stuff from via Facebook Live before I was able to get the stuff on the phone. But I wanted to add that I did take pictures of all the parks within CB11 before the parks were shut down. So I have photographs of all the CB11 parks. That's number one. Number two, Iris had a teleconference today at 4 o'clock. So Iris is 100% reachable. I've seen her numerous times at Orchard Beach during the COVID crisis. So she is 100% reachable.
Good. Thank you, Debbie.
So, you able to figure it out, Harriet?
no. Let me see. I click on participant.
Yeah, click on participants. No, do you have the participant list on the right?
Yeah, I don't see her name.
She's under attendees. You got to click under attendees at the bottom of it. Right below Pat Charles's name.
Okay, I don't even see Pat Charles on here. You're not here, Pat. All participants. Okay, all attendees. No, nothing's coming up on my end, Jeremy. Debbie's the last person I have.
Oh, but you don't have attendees? You don't see the phone number ones?
No,
So just so everybody clear, why I'm having Harriet do this is because I need help. I can't be doing everything myself. You know, I need a break every now and then.
I don't know why.
thank you, Edith. I second that.
So you have the list of participants on the right, Harriet?
Yes.
And you have
Got
all the,
community board. Says Community Board 11 staff, Debbie, Dom, Joe Menta, Lisa Soda, and Pat Charles. Let me see if I go any further.
and then
And
below,
if I click, it says all participants.
Harriet, you got to look at the very bottom where it says view more, and then there's an arrow to the side.
she has a different screen though. Don't forget she's a host.
No, I don't know that.
So below those lists of people on the right, it should be panelists and then attendee. There should be two attendees.
Yeah,
I
have-
see Natalie Medina and then a call-in user of 4 and then a name 2. So I can see it.
I can't, for all attendees, I'm not getting all the names.
Should be two people. Natalie is one of them.
Nope.
Then I'm just gonna take over reclaim the host role.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you know what it is? Hold on. It's the chat. If you have the chat open, that's what it is. You gotta close the chat. an X out on the right with the chat. That's, all right, so,
No, that's the wrong one. That's leave the event.
no, it's right below the list of participants on the right. It's an X.
The question and answer thing? X. Okay, close
Yeah.
the okay.
You can close that as well as the chat. Anyway, I unmuted you, Natalie. Can you talk?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, all.
Welcome, Natalie.
Thanks.
Welcome.
I'm not officially a committee member, but I'm working on it. I think you guys need to recruit me. I like to be.
For a quorum at least, right?
What?
For a quorum at least, right?
at least for a while. I think you guys were discussing under old business the idea of surveying parks, and I think it's a great idea. And I just wanted to ask a question. I think Dom suggested something about one of the parks that you were looking at, what kind of equipment fits there, and like what kind of things you can fit in. How are you evaluating that? Like how are you going about sort of, making those suggestions or evaluating those things?
Well, I'm under the impression that it's for Eastchester Housing, the area over there by Eastchester Houses. And Pat Charles will eventually go to the people over there, show them what is available to put in. And I guess we would ask for their input as to what they would want to put there. Is that not correct, Pat?
Yes, it is. That's why we are going to visit other parks, and not just to review that particular part of our agenda of the project, is also to see the conditions of other parks, as well as for Eastchester Gardens residents to see what other parks do have, what other playgrounds do have that we would be able to include, because we have little of nothing. So we want to be able to fill up the area where the children play. We still want to be able to give opportunity for teens to have something that they can utilize, adults, even seniors, whatever equipment that they have, the exercise equipment that they have in different areas. So we would like to try to put in some things that would give the residents something to do during the summertime besides just basketball and little or nothing else to do. The swings and the sprinklers. So that's it.
Right. So outside of assessing what shape the parks are in, there is a limited space as to what the people in the Eastchester housing or houses can utilize. And if I'm not
Right.
mistaken, the basketball court is something that they definitely want and need. Is that correct?
It's been done, but it still has to be redone because of the piping.
What I'm saying is that's something that they want to have remain.
Yes.
Okay, so in the space that's available, the basketball court to be refurbished.
Mhm.
And what else you're going to put in with the basketball court will more than likely be left up to the residents of Eastchester, housing.
We,
And
Can I
I
say
mean-
something here?
yes.
Can I interject? Let me tell you, when VACA put in our exercise equipment in Bronx Park East, we weren't asked what we wanted. That's why I'm just sitting here and listening. I understand the basketball courts. Yes, that's a definite. But can we say what the residents there want to have put in, or is it all up to them to put in what they want?
No, because
We
we're
were
going
never
to,
asked.
we have to solicit the money first.
First, we
yep.
have to see.
Nobody volunteered any money for this up to this point. I mean,
I
first,
understand that.
yeah, we have to say what we want.
Right.
Second, see, if the people agree to it. Third,
Okay.
get somebody to sponsor it. And if they sponsor it, see how much of that they'd be willing to pay for.
Right, I think
Okay,
that's what
well,
Matt Dorian said, Edith, was that, we go through that process, right? We take photos,
Right,
we
right.
take a little through the video, we discuss what we want. They're gonna come up with the actual budget of what things are gonna cost. So if we
Okay, the
want,
only thing-
if we want
What
like
I
a
am
bench
saying-
press machine or something like that, or something for the kids, like those metal, light metal ones that they have in Pelham Bay Park, or even over at the skateboard park over there,
Right.
on Park East. That's when Matt said that, they would look into making feasible and help us put the budget together.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is after we do these surveys and that community decides what they would like, do we actually have to say in what we would like? Because when Jimmy funded ours, we had no say in anything. They put in what they wanted to put in. That's
Well,
my
we
question.
should. I mean, I don't know the answer to it yet, but I would think that we most certainly would have a say. I don't recall, I wasn't a part of the committee when you had done it last time. Was it this involved? Were you guys this intimate?
We weren't asked anything. Our committee in Parks, and I've been on the Parks Committee since I'm on the community
Okay.
board, we weren't asked. Jimmy
But
put in what he felt was right.
Hold on a minute, Edith, there was a big difference. The big difference is Jimmy Vaca did this on his own.
I
Right.
understand that. We had to
Yeah,
look
in
for
other
the
words,
funding.
nobody was
Yes.
asking for it. He came up
Right.
with some money. He put some over here and he put some in Pelham Bay someplace.
Right, Tom.
Right,
So
well,
I would say that we would most certainly have a say of what gets put in there.
Yeah, because we're going to be asking for particular items and we're going to be asking certain people for a particular amount of money. Now, I mean,
well, I happen to agree with the fact that the community should have to say in what they want in their area because they know very well what they can utilize and what they can't. So I'm in
Agreed.
100% agreement.
Edith. Hello?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I know. I just want to interject and say that when I was going around taking the pictures, some of the people of the neighborhood that happen to be utilizing stuff, they were saying they was asking me what I was doing. So I told them I'm taking pictures to try to improve the parks and whatnot.
Right.
I was not aware of, and I don't know if the men in this group here have ever heard the term of a double rim on the basketball hoops, but I know like the people in these neighborhoods, they were asking me, and it was numerous parks. They were saying they don't want double rims. So yes, people need to reach out to the people of the community that are going to
And I
utilize
think,
it.
Debbie, you're 100% right.
I agree with you, Debbie. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
People
I would
in the
think,
community.
yeah, I would think Sister Charles, that's her community. So Sister Charles is going to speak with her people.
This is why I need to speak now, okay? Because I understand what everybody is saying, okay? And Debbie, if you did come into Eastchester Gardens and you took it
They
over
were the
there,
first
and-
one that I went to. They were the first
okay,
one.
so then listen to me very carefully, okay? If you came and I'm there, I would have appreciated it if that you had came, you would have spoken to me to let me know that you were there, and I could have come out there with you to be there to make sure that everything that you were doing, and if there was any questions, because I've been explaining to my residents that this is this is what's coming up. This is what we want to do. Okay, so I would respectfully ask.
I just went
listen.
there I went there at the beginning of the COVID shutdown. Everybody
understand
at that
that.
time
That's
was
not-
crawling
That's
under.
not the question. The question
Everybody
is.
was crawling under their rocks.
Question
I did
is
not
all
have
you
it.
have to do is to reach out to me, especially if I'm the chairwoman of the committee and you're coming into my neighborhood. In order for me to know what you're doing, I would appreciate if you would do that.
Listen, I just went there to take pictures, which was
I know that, Deb.
which was
That's-
acts of me. It was acts
Okay,
of me
and
to take
oh God,
pictures
you know,
of the area.
okay, I'm not going to
I
interrupt
wasn't
you.
doing
I just
anything
want to
try
just go from.
step on anybody's toes.
All right, I get it. Listen, guys, I get it. We get it. No, we all want the parks to look good and everything to work out.
So,
Sister, I
moving
understand
right
where you were
along.
coming from. We're good.
Moving right
I think
along.
that, yeah, you just wanted to just know that she was going to be there. Absolutely. You could have gotten some
It's
feedback.
simple.
So let's
Very
move
simple.
forward.
So let's move forward, and we're going to make arrangements to make sure that we can get the van, and we'll set up a date, and we are all take a vote and agree on how we're going to move forward. And then once we do get these pictures, we will be able to come back to Eastchester Gardens residents, give them the information of what we've seen with the sprinklers, with whatever they have in other parks, that we would be able to fit in Eastchester Gardens area for that playground to give more access to much more than just a monkey bars and some swings and just a sprinkler. We need more than that. So that's why we're doing this project, this capital project. So if we can come together in unity and respect each other to come and do this together, I would appreciate that. So now we're moving forward because it's already 8 o'clock. And I don't know whether or not you want to finish. What I'll do now is there's new business because there's something else that happened in Eastchester in my playground with a tree that fell, a big tree that fell. So I'm gonna push that back, and we're gonna put that into our next meeting for July, and then we'll speak
We have
on
no
that.
meeting in July. The next meeting is September.
Oh, okay, so then we'll wait until then, but I'm just saying, I want to make sure that we just get off this phone and close up the meeting. If we want to take the meeting and close it now, we can do that. If not,
Sister, I have a comment. I have a comment about the tree that fell down in your park. I mean,
Yes,
has it been removed? Did anybody get hurt? Is it still a safe condition? Because I don't think we should put it off if it's not.
I think they did take it up. I believe they did. I'm not sure. I have to go and look at it myself. I'm not sure what they did, but I know it fell down. It broke the fence. I don't know whether or not they cut it up and they hauled it off or not. I still have to go back and look and see if that was done. But that was a
Well,
concern.
Pat, if that isn't fixed, I don't think we should wait until September. I think that's an urgent matter. You
that's-
should contact Matt immediately
Well,
and see what he has to say.
That's what I want to suggest, because I know time is of the essence. I know people want to get off the phone, and I know that the meeting is over at 8 o'clock. So I just want to see if it's
And
okay.
if we go
if
over
can
10
speak
minutes, it's no big deal, but you have an
Okay,
emergency
thank you.
situation there.
You guys can stay on as long as you want.
I was,
Yeah, Patricia, if you
We're
need
not
any
paying
help
over-
with that,
We're not paying overtime, so don't worry about it.
if you want to go and check it out, sister, and you need any help with that, you can give any one of us on the committee a call. I'll be happy to help.
Definitely. I'm open to you, Pat. Whatever you need, give me a call and I'll be glad to
and I'll
help you.
get back to you on that to see whether or not they cut it up and they hauled it off or what, because I haven't been able to go out there and check it. So
Send us
that's
an
what I'll
email. That's great. Send us an email or call us.
do. Okay, we'll do. Okay,
Exactly.
babe? I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. My last thing is that there's a lot of algae on my trees as well. This green, whatever this green algae is, it's growing everywhere in my development. So on the
Mhm.
But
ground,
that's the pollen that's blowing all over.
I don't know if that's pollen. That's not pollen. This is just green algae that's coming up out of the ground, and it's in the grass and it's on the trees.
I
And
know what you're talking about exactly, and it's like a moss of some sort or some sort of mold. And I think it contributes to asthmatic conditions. I don't think
definitely.
it's healthy. Maybe we can ask that question of Matt as well.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Now I'm good.
Yeah.
See, thank you so very much. And this is why I love you all, for the support that you give, because even though I'm new at this, I'm not new at the conditions and the concerns that we're having. It's all over. So it's not just here, it's everywhere.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
So-
everybody stay well and healthy and
Okay,
have a
so,
great summer.
so now we are saying that it is 8:07.
Hold on, Pat, if you don't mind. I just want to go through attendance and verify that besides the people that are here that are present, John Musto, Jacob Rosado, Janice Walcott are absent,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, I don't know if anybody knew about a special circumstance thing. So, all right, so then, and then just the only guest would be Natalie Medina. So that's the attendance then, and then Harriet and me.
Okay.
Okay. I will send that to you in email, here if you want.
Thank you. So is everybody in agreement that we are?
I second the motion before you even make it.
I third it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very
Everybody-
much.
Everybody stay well.
You
And-
two, everybody stay well.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
So
Bye
Harriet,
bye. Thank
Harriet?
you.
Good night.
Harriet,
Hi.
yeah, can you reclaim the host real quick? Harriet,
Jeremy,
yeah,
when I get a hold of Iris, I'll give you the information and you can forward it to everybody, if you don't
I
mind.
sent you, and I sent you a text about your mail issue. I'm gonna stop, hold on, the meeting's over. Let me stop recording and everything, hold on.
Okay, let me know if you get a hold of Iris.
I will call you personally, Edith.
Okay, have a good one.
You
Take
too,
care.
stay well.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.